Welcome to the 2028 presidential race at the Democrats have downs. They're at the gate, and they're off. Jumping out in the lead is Bernie Sanders and another vacation home close behind. It's a DNC dumpster fire and shocking reality, and now here comes policy flip-flopper. A disastrous midterms falls back as Kamala takes the reins. Kamala's cackle falls off quickly as a flood of illegal immigrants move into position. And here comes AOC, followed by No Children and the dumbest thing we've ever heard. Coming down the back stretch, Bernie's new beach house, moving ahead of Jasmine Crockett's finger snap, but coming on the inside is head bob and no, you didn't. It's Build Back Broke, followed by USAID was my campaign funding. I have no campaign funding is challenging for second going into the clubhouse turn. Passing on the rail is DNC dumpster fire, followed by raising taxes, trans kids, and general degeneracy. Here they come spinning out of the turn, Big Pharma in the lead, but here comes Big Soda and Big Glitter. Sniffy Joe was stronger and Disappointed Nancy are neck and neck. And down the stretch they come. The squad is pulling away from a rainbow flag by a length. But coming in strong is Big Booty Latina. Big Booty Latina is passing a burning Tesla, and at the wire it's General Degeneracy crying salty tears, and at least I ain't Donald Trump.
Tim, what's up, man? We have heard that DC is a very dangerous place, okay? Chrissy Nome got robbed, and we're very, very worried about it. I don't know if you've ever been pickpocketed before in Washington, D.C., but just watch out, right, if you're around those parts.
Yeah, I appreciate you having that video of the Easter Bunny there and the warning about pickpockets, because now we have a better Easter Bunny there. I was at the Easter egg roll yesterday at the White House, and I didn't see any marauding bunnies there trying to interrupt the president this time. That's for sure. You know what the bunny was doing there? That was the bunny trying to handle Joe Biden, because Biden had wandered over and was speaking to reporters against the wishes of his handlers. So they sent the bunny in to get him out of there. So, you know, God forbid he would go over there and start rambling and stuff. But you could see the bunny saying, no, hey, go over. Let's go over. I mean, mortifying. A guy or a person, whoever, some intern in a bunny suit is directing the president of the United States. No, you're not allowed to be here. Go over there. It's insane. You know, thank God we have President Trump back in the White House.
What's your odds on who was inside of that bunny suit with Biden? Was it cringe? Was it cringe Jean-Pierre, or was it the guy? Was it the guy who was stealing all the women's luggage?
It might have been that guy. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He would have made off with that costume, though. Maybe that. You know what? Because that was his thing, right? Stealing luggage and stealing outfits. Maybe that could be why we have a new bunny suit now. That could be why.
That's right. All right. So just really quickly, we covered this live yesterday. How was the event? Good? Nice,
oh, yeah. Cheerful? It was very cheerful, very joyful. A lot of fun. My two little boys had a great time, and took my niece there as well. Had an awesome time, and it was packed. But it was a beautiful day. It was wonderful. People were thrilled to see the president come out and participate and hang out and sit down with the kids for a little bit. Caroline Leavitt came out and read to some of the kids. I mean, it was pretty awesome. It was good.
So a piece of news that we did off the top of the show here, Tim, was the fake news about Pete Hegseth, his standing with the administration. Now, he nuked that story from inside of the White House Easter egg roll. Pretty rare, and that's ballsy, right? So you have a bunch of kids running around with eggs behind you, and Pete Hegseth's just roasting the press corps. But maybe you can speak to this. Like, what operation is being run against Pete Hegseth right now from the corporate press? And we'll say one final thing here, Tim. When everyone's reading from the same script, you know where it's all coming from.
Yeah, we've seen this all before, and I think that it is right that it probably does come from within the giant operation that has been the Pentagon for so long. And when somebody comes in and tries to change things and shake things up and take management, what they're used to, in a different direction, then the knives come out. I think that's what we're seeing. One of the things that has to me been the most humorous is that NPR of all outlets has been leading the way here, trying to promote this story that President Trump is trying to find someone to use to replace Pete Hegseth. NPR, can you estimate how many credible sources National Public Radio has inside the Trump administration? Who? None. None. NPR has zero sources inside Trump world. I can tell you that accurately. No way NPR has anybody who knows anything telling them anything about what's going on inside the White House. Least of all, what's going on inside the brain of Donald Trump. No chance NPR knows anything about what's happening.
So but the lady who runs NPR, Catherine Mayer, who's regularly said that her biggest challenge is the First Amendment, and she doesn't believe in any truth, is also the board of Signal, which is strange here, Tim.
That's odd.
Yeah. Odd connection.
It is an odd connection. And, you know, if NPR were performing such an invaluable service that they are completely indispensable to American life and they provide much needed information that everyone has to have, then they should be able to sink or swim on their own great reporting, right? Yeah. Why on earth do they need? It's kind of like Harvard. Why does Harvard University, with a $50-some billion endowment, why do they need taxpayer money every single year? Why does NPR need taxpayer money? If they are such a great, fantastic, indispensable media outlet, how come they can't make it on their own? It's really a question that they can't answer.
So is NPR, this has been like it's been the pipe dream, obviously. The memes have become dreams. Memes from like a couple of years ago are now reality in the new Trump administration. So defunding NPR is something we've heard about for 2 decades as Republicans.
Yeah.
Is that actually going to happen, Tim?
I mean, I sure hope so. If not now, then when, really? And it's really, to break down the argument from NPR, every time this comes up, they say, you know, we really only get a very small percentage of our funding from the federal government. Well, if that is the case, then why do they squawk so much every time the idea of cutting it comes up? And so I do really hope, I believe President Trump is on board with this. And I think, you know, through budget reconciliation or some other vehicle, perhaps, but usually probably in budget reconciliation, I think this is the opportunity to do it. Republicans control both houses of Congress and obviously control the White House. And if not now, then when? So I hope so.
Okay, so moving back to the budget and to the way that America spends its money, there was news this morning, I'm not sure if we have it in the show, but we can go grab it, of a massive pharmaceutical company moving operations, $50 billion worth of operations here to the States. And that we're seeing headlines like that every single day.
Yeah.
Obviously the pipeline of American medicine has to flow through our enemies, and this is very, very bad. And I know this is something that's near and dear to your heart, like the production of medicine here in this country. Can you give me the status of this? I know that this is obviously a very positive direction out. We depend on communist China. If communist China cut off pharmaceuticals, then we would effectively have no way to treat sick people in this country, which seems like a really bad plan. And Joe Biden made it worse with his Infrastructure American Investment Act. So, can you unpack this for me, Tim?
Yeah, so it is good news to see these industries moving their facilities back into America, and that has been the president's goal. That's what he's been trying to do. That's what he campaigned on, and we see it every day. You're right, headline after headline, and it's working. But inside the Inflation Reduction Act, and this does hit home to me because I have 2 elderly parents and as most people do, elderly people in my extended family as well. Inside the Inflation Reduction Act was something that's come to be known as the Biden pill penalty. And what it does is that it discriminates against pill form medicine in favor of other more cumbersome, more inconvenient medicines that are called large molecule medicines, where you have to go to the hospital. Think of injections or IVs or infusions, those kinds of things. Joe Biden favored those medicines and discriminated against pills, which makes no sense at all because pills are on average 71% cheaper than those other forms of medicines. They're cheaper to make, they're cheaper for patients, they're cheaper for the entire healthcare system. And by discriminating against those, what it did was it drove away 70% of the R&D dollars away from pills. So the University of Chicago did a study. 188 new cures or applications for existing medicines have gone completely undiscovered. And these are medicines, they're called small molecule or pills because they can cross the blood-brain barrier and they can work on maladies that affect the brain. So we're talking about mental health medicines, Alzheimer's medicines. And in the case of other medicines, we're talking about cancer drugs. And these are pills, again, 71% cheaper than other forms of medicines. And Joe Biden discriminated against them. This passed in the Inflation Reduction Act with 0 Republican votes. The Democrats did this all to themselves. And while they were doing it in this act back in 2021, you had doctors groups, patients groups, you had pharmaceutical companies doing it, business interests, various conservative groups told Joe Biden, this is what's going to happen, is going to be the death knell for innovation in pills. They did it anyway. And so now there's no motivation for generic drugs to get into the market. And, that's how prices are really driven down, is by generic drugs getting in. It's stymied that. And you know what? You mentioned China at the beginning here. China sees what's happening, and China is rushing to fill the gap. They are investing in research for pill form medicine like they never have before, because they know this is their opportunity to produce things that will keep their own people healthy for the long run, so that you don't have to use those medicines of last resort. So China sees the opening. Joe Biden did this. Congress can fix it, and President Trump issued an executive order last week directing Secretary Kennedy to work with Congress to fix the Biden pill penalty. The pills are 71% cheaper. It's a no-brainer, which I guess explains why Joe Biden didn't get it.
So very good. Tim, you do this professionally. That was a great setup. You throw the ball and then you hit it, and it's very nice hit. Okay, so here's a not very nice hit. Joe Biden, I guess, hitting himself, I suppose, by photoshopping himself into his own Easter post. I'm not sure if you saw this. What's your take on this? This is clearly, it clearly makes no sense, like where Joe Biden is, what he's wearing, like the lighting. That's what's going on? Does Joe Biden need his pills? Was that where Joe Biden actually was during this creepy Easter photograph? Also, you can see the fake black hand there over the shoulder. Nobody's quite sure where that's coming from. Is his forearm 4 feet long? Nobody knows. Why, Tim? Why?
I don't really understand this picture. I did see it, and it caused me to wonder. I don't want to declare it that it has been photoshopped, because I'm not an expert in forensic examination of photos like this. But man, I don't know how you could possibly, unless his forearm is like 3 feet long, there's no way you could get your fingers up over with the way you can see that his left arm there is not extended. What is he, kneeling? Because you can see that he is like pictured from about the waist up, which means that he's either kneeling right behind those people, or he has in fact been photoshopped in there. It's really extremely puzzling, because he doesn't look like he fits in this shot. It's hard to describe, but if you look at it, you can tell it's odd. And while looking at this, I had another question that popped into my mind, Benny, and that is, where's Hunter?
Yeah, that's right.
Was Hunter not invited?
A dude in South Africa with his Secret Service, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Maybe he's still vacationing.
Yeah, you know what? I got it for you, Tim. He's in El Salvador, where Democrats love to vacation these days.
That's the place to be if you're a Democrat. That's the first stop on the Democratic presidential trail, is going to El Salvador. That's for sure. You always talk about, well, you got to go to New Hampshire. South Carolina is really very important, all these early primary states. But by God, if you don't hit El Salvador, you are missing the boat there.
That's such a critical primary, actually.
Yeah, the El Salvador primary.
Specifically, the terrorism center in El Salvador. You got to get that vote, right, from inside of the prison. You got to go and you got to campaign cell to cell, right? And you got to make sure these are the constituents. You got to make sure that you lock in this MS-13 vote. This is going to backfire, right? I mean, is it not like a 90-10 issue? Democrats are calling this a winner in Politico today.
Well, they have to now. What are they going to do? Back down now? This is again, we're seeing another in action here. This is another one of Donald Trump's superpowers. He has many, but this is, I think, the main one. He has the ability to make his political opponents absolutely lose their minds. And that, because that's what's happening here. Look, Donald Trump, and they did it again all through the campaign. They did it in 2024. Like the immigration, they have thought for years that if they just say the words immigration and Donald Trump, then they will win the votes of Latino voters here in America. Well, that's wrong, because Latinos, just like every other American, believe that if you're going to come to this country, most Americans that is, you should follow the rules. And Democrats just don't get that. And it's because Donald Trump is on the other side of this particular issue, they reflexively take the other side. This is a 95-5 issue, and they take the five, simply because Donald Trump is on the other side. They do it endlessly. They do it over and over again. They do it with all the trans activism and issues like that. They just endlessly, only because they hate Donald Trump so much they can't see straight, and they've got themselves convinced this is a party that stood by and actually applauded when Joe Biden was letting in millions upon millions of illegal aliens without any recourse whatsoever, without blinking an eye about the idea of the rule of law, right? Letting people, endless streams of people come into this country, completely flagrantly violating our laws. Not only did they not care, they loved it because it was their guy doing it. And now, when Donald Trump wants to deport, let's talk about who this guy is. A known MS-13 gang member, an illegal alien to start with, a spouse abuser, and what else? Oh, a human trafficker. All those things. They have embraced this guy. I mean, good God. There's the fellow. This is their poster child. This is the guy that they have decided to hitch their wagon to. And they truly believe that people in the United States of America will also embrace this guy. And now, when it comes out, all these facts about him and his background and what an actual criminal he is, they say, well, it's not really about him. Yeah, well, you made it about him. You made it about him. Right. And so, yeah, it's going to backfire.
I've never seen, I've been doing this, at least observing the political space for the better part of 30 years, and I have never seen someone get trolled into putting their pinky up and sipping margaritas with a terrorist with a cherry on the glass. There was a cherry on the rim of the margarita, which is that is special, right? Here's the close-up. That is special.
Right. And Van Hollen there. Yeah, the cherry is truly the cherry on top. Van Hollen there, when he was reporting back, he says that the guy was, quote, traumatized by his time in this El Salvadoran prison. Traumatized. Oh, well, we wouldn't want, and you know what? The reason they said, oh, you can't send him back to El Salvador because a rival gang had a price on his head. He's under threat from this rival gang, meaning that he is a gang member, right? This is their logic, that he is a gang member, and the rival gang won't want him to be around because he's from the other gang. They are actually using his criminality as his defense. Like, you can't do that. He's a criminal. Look what happened to, I mean, come on.
You can control you're exactly right about Trump. You control your enemy into making such horrible critical errors. And here's the final error I'd like to talk with you about. Okay. Here's the new polling out from today from Interactive Poll, Atlas Intel, Democratic primary 2028. Would you look at this? AOC, right up near the very tippy top. Tim, what say you of AOC as the presidential candidate in 28?
God bless her. I'm tempted to make a contribution to her for her primary campaign. And I just think that if the Democrats were to nominate AOC, I think that would be a banner day for Republicans. And it really calls to mind everything that I see David Hogg doing over as the vice chairman of the Democratic National Committee. A young Mr. Hogg who's decided that he's going to primary, if there are any remaining reasonably moderate Democrats, he's going to primary all of them and replace them with crazy leftists, dragging the party further to the left, firmly making it really the party of AOC and Bernie Sanders. And they haven't learned a blessed thing from November 2020, where they're trying to deny this, but they truly got shellacked. Donald Trump won the popular vote. He won all 7 battleground states, and it was on the strength of his message and his positions, but he was aided by the fact that the Democrats have gone crazy left. And if they follow that up by nominating AOC, then by God, they're going to deserve everything that they get. And I think it's wonderful.
I just can't believe it. Look at she's within almost a margin of error for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
If you want to prepare people, it's going to be AOC. They don't really have another choice.
Well, man, if they go back to the well with Kamala Harris again, that will be almost as good. So, I mean, between those two, because we know Kamala Harris is a terrible candidate, even if they don't. And AOC will just be so easily lampooned, the crazy positions that she's staked out. And she was the author of the Green New Deal, the original version of the Green New Deal. And by God, boy, let us run against that all day long. No kidding.
There is the author of the Green New Deal getting off a $32 million jet that pumps more carbon into the atmosphere in 1 minute than you do in a year.
Yeah.
And it costs $15,000 per hour in fossil fuel to run this jet. And I just can't wait. I mean, I just can't wait. Just really quickly, can you handicap a JD Vance versus AOC for me, please, Tim?
Oh, yeah, JD Vance wins in a walk. I mean, you take everything seriously and you fight every fight as hard as you can. But I mean, I would love to have JD Vance or any Republican, but I do love JD Vance. I think he would be a fantastic candidate. Going toe to toe with AOC. Imagine JD Vance on a debate stage with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, what a lopsided affair that's going to be. We already saw Joe Biden dismantle both Harris and Joe Biden, and he ended both of their careers. And that is exactly what JD Vance would do to AOC. I would love to see that. I would love it.
Here's to hoping that this is what we see on election night 2028. I want to see AOC with an empty crying inside of an empty parking lot with her fake handcuffs. Nobody ever remembers that she used fake handcuffs, that she was fake arrested by the Capitol Police and she acted like she was handcuffed. Nobody ever remembers that. We remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
It's so good. And she wore that white pantsuit to go cry at the chain link fence. So awesome.
Tim Murtaugh remembers. You got to go hit up Tim Murtaugh. Make sure that you're following. He's absolutely rowdy. He has a brand new book out, Swing Hard in Case You Hit It, and is one of those people who he's like a humble guy who got Trump elected, and it just wouldn't have happened without him. And we're just thankful that he's a friend of the show.
I don't know about that. I think Donald J. Trump had something to do with that, Betty.
Well, of course.
I was happy to be on the team.
Tell you what, man. It was a rock star. It's a rock star team, and yeah, we're happy to have you as a friend of the show, Tim. Godspeed, and let's get AOC that nomination in 2020.
Here's hoping, and I do love JD Vance. Thanks, Benny. I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Hey, man.
See you.